before back to school starts. So I got some time.
Love it. Love. Bruce, what's up, Bruce? Been changing lives,
Bruce,
one new skill at a time.
I love the shirt. Says, "Don't make excuses." What does the bottom say? Make money. Okay. Bruce is going to tell us how to make money, but first, let me go ahead and introduce Bruce. Okay. I read through his bio and I realized I have a lot more work to do. So y'all bear with me. This is going to be incredible. Okay. So Bruce Hill is a four-time author and international speaker, an educator and trainer whose career spans over 15 years. He realized that the skills that made him successful as a salesperson are transferable to all customer-facing roles. He began coaching business professionals and entrepreneurs in personal and professional development. He consults with tech startups and professional services businesses to help them grow revenue and improve customer retention, leveraging his proprietary Better Questions framework. He helps increase clarity, confidence, and more effective communication. The result, business growth from the inside out. I love it. Bruce is going to tell y'all and explain to y'all how you can sell more now. Be sure to pop your questions for Bruce in the chat. And I am going to disappear briefly and come back. All right, Bruce, you got it?
Let's go. Listen, what you all don't realize, whether you're listening to this live or you're listening to the recording, that 30 minutes from now, you have the option to have a completely different life. 30 minutes from now, you have the option to put your life and business success on a different path trajectory. What's really fascinating about what I do, when I tell you personal and professional development, that means we're here to grow you. And when I grow you, I grow everything in your business. I grow everything in your life. I grow everything in your relationships. Everything in your life changes if you change. Now, I can't change it for you. I'm just here to help facilitate the transformation. So check this out. There's inspirational speakers. There's motivational speakers. There's educational speakers like yours truly. But none of that matters. Whether you listen to Royal or you listen to Andre, none of that matters what you listen to. What matters is what you do with what you listen to. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to give you the tools to transform your life from the inside out. I'm going to teach you how asking better questions is going to help you make more money more easily. However, nothing I tell you is going to help you until you put it into action. Okay. The information is useless until you use it. So while I'm hoping to be a part of your success journey, I cannot carry you along this journey. You have to commit to taking action. So all I need from you, if you're listening to, I don't even care if you're listening to this a year from now, type action into the chat. Say action out loud. I'm committed to taking action. That's where the transformation happens. And it's so simple. Once I realize this, I just tell you the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm only going to tell you what I've done, what I've lived, what I've experienced. I'm going to tell you when I failed. I'm going to tell you when I succeeded, because it's not out of a book. And I love to read. I got books all over the place. It's nothing that you watch that's going to change your life. You are going to change your life. I'm just here to help you get there a little faster, a little smoother. So check this out. They call me Better Questions for a reason. I figured out that the questions you don't ask are costing you money. Hold on, wait a minute. The questions you don't ask are costing you the most money. I'm driving 25 miles an hour. I'm headed west. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and whoop, blue and lights pull me over. Okay. What's the first thing you're going to ask? Oh, man, what they trying to get me for now? Police officer comes over. Do you know why I pulled you over? That's a good question. I had the same question. I said, why did you pull me over? He said, your registration's expired. I mean, I haven't even had this car a year. How is my registration expired? He said, expired in January. Now, here's a good question. What happened in January? It's my birthday. In the state of Georgia, your registration expires on your birthday. It don't matter when you got the car. So guess what? Towing fines, fee. I had to get the vehicle out of impound. I had to pay the ticket. And then just to keep things interesting, the rent bounced by $7 because I had to pay all this fines. That one question I didn't ask, when's the registration renew, cost me $1,000. So I go and I get the vehicle. I was like, first thing I got to do, I got to go get this registration updated. Now, let me ask you this. This is a real simple question. It's not a trick question. I don't ask trick questions. How much does the registration cost in Georgia? Anybody know? It's not a trick question. Guess if you want to. How much does registration cost in Georgia? I paid all the fees, fines, and extracurriculars. How much does the registration cost in Georgia? It's just $25. $25. So here's a really simple question. If the questions you don't ask are costing you money, then how much is a question worth? Is a question worth $25? Or is it worth $1,000? And that's what I want you to realize. That's what I want you to think about. This isn't a catchphrase. This isn't a bumper sticker. This isn't a fridge magnet. This is a life-changing principle when applied to your business will make you more money. Or not applying it could cost you money. Let me talk to y'all real quick. You know what? I appreciate the introduction, Brandy, but I'm going to just give you real simple. My name is Bruce Hill. I help you transform your life and business by teaching you to ask better questions. That's it. That's all I do. If you want to sell more, I teach you how to ask better questions. If you're in customer success, I teach you how to ask better questions. If you're a marketer, I teach you to ask better questions. If you own a franchise, shout out to Royal, I teach you to ask better questions. If you're a SaaS founder, I'm going to teach you to ask better questions. And it's the fastest way you can scale your business. It's the highest multiplier to scale your business. Before we talk about AI, before we talk about some complicated sales methodology, before we implement some expensive software, before we hire a coach, all of which can be good things. But the first thing I want you to do is ask better questions. You're like, oh, it couldn't be that easy. It absolutely is that easy. Let's call it simple. Sometimes simple isn't always easy. Last week, my buddy reaches out to me and said, man, I left my job by force, not by choice, right? Some of us have been there. He was making $81,000. So he's applying to roles. He found one he really liked to fit his skills, to fit his experience. They said, how much do you want? He said, 100,000. I was like, I love it. But we need to talk to him about negotiation. He didn't ask any questions. So they said, I'm sorry, that's out of our budget. Thanks, we'll keep you in mind. Damn, over before it started. Didn't even get an interview. So he reaches out to me. He said, Bruce, what do I do? I said, we're going to ask some better questions. I had one simple question. I said, hey, how far apart are we? He sent that question. They messaged him back. They said, well, we cap at 90,000. They could have said that in the first place, but they didn't. Why? We got to ask better questions. So he goes from 81,000 to 90,000. He had to interview the next day. 11% increase for asking one question. Okay, that's maybe you're not looking for a job. Maybe you're a business owner. Maybe you're a marketer. I have a friend. She's an operations specialist. I was on the phone with her for 15 minutes. She takes what I taught her and takes action. Shout out to the action takers. Those are the money makers. And in one phone call, she asked one question. Hey, when do you want to get started? She made 5 figures because she asked better questions. Listen, don't believe me. Hop on a YouTube channel, New Skills, New You, and go to testimonials. I've done this over and over and over again in different industries and different verticals for different businesses. If you ask better questions, that's a multiplier. So let's keep going. How do we ask better questions in our business? How do we ask better questions in our business? I'm going to share this screen real quick. I want to talk to you all. I want to have a conversation with you all. So Brandy, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. One question closed the deal. I had a day off, but I also needed to sell one more car to hit the President's Club Sales Award. I didn't even brag about that. My bio's getting too long. But I said to myself, do I take the day off? Do I take the chance I can go make this sale? So you know what? I'm going for it. Action takers are money makers. What does my shirt say? Don't make excuses, make money. So I go in, 9 a.m., I'm ready. No one comes in. 10 a.m., no one comes in. 11 a.m., no one comes in. 12, it's lunchtime. I'm hungry. I said, man, I'm hungry for success. Skip lunch. No one comes in. 1 o'clock, someone shows up. Hey, how can I help you? He said, oh, I'm looking for Steve. Now, if you look right here in the title, my name is Bruce. I don't know any Steves. I said, all right, he's over there. I need an opportunity. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And I'm starting to think I wasted my day not to make any money, not to sell any cars, not to hit the reward. But it's just one question away. So here's what happened. Somebody comes in, they want to buy a truck. Great. Grab their ID, test drive the truck, look at the numbers. They love the truck. They love the numbers. And then they say, maybe you've heard this before. You're talking to your dream client. You're in an interview for your dream company. And they say, hey, we'll get in touch with you, right? We've got to think about it. We'll call you back. Anything but yes. Damn. Wasted a whole day not to hit the goal. So I go get their IDs, give it back to them. And as I walk past, the manager says, hey, can I talk to him before you let him go? Sure. What's the worst that could happen? I go get their IDs. I come back, 30 seconds. They're laughing, joking, ha, 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 patting each other on the back. So where are you guys going? He's like, oh, we're going to go sign the paperwork. And I said, wait. What did you say to them to get them to buy? And listen, I'm not going to teach you to be the master manipulator, the killer closer, the sales superstar. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to teach you to ask better questions. He asked them one question. He said, what is your hesitation? I want some of y'all to write that down. If you're trying to get a deal closed, you're trying to get a client signed, you're trying to get that job, ask them, what is your hesitation? They said, well, we don't know how to use the knob, right? It didn't have a column shifter, it had a knob shift. And we're worried because of the recall. The recall says if you leave it in neutral, it could roll away. We don't want the car to roll away. He said, what's your hesitation? They said, we're worried the car will roll away. He said, well, all you got to do is put it in park. I could have asked that question. What's your hesitation? You could have asked that question. What's your hesitation? One question closed the deal. One question closed the deal. So now, guess what? They're signing paperwork. I'm planning my trip. I said, man, who am I going to bring with me on the President Club sales trip? It's an all expense paid trip to Vegas. Accommodations, food, flight. I was excited. I'm like, man, I've got to start asking better questions. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for your life and business. This isn't a cliche. This isn't a gimmick. Listen, okay, I'll tell you what. You're like, is it always that easy? It isn't. It isn't. I left that job doing pretty well. Back-to-back President's Club Sales Awards, top 100 nationwide, and I went to an outside sales job. Now, for you that don't know, an outside sales job means I have to get up out of my house. I've got to leave the office, and I got to go get customers, right? That's knocking on doors, knocking on houses, visiting businesses, right? I didn't realize this, but when you have a job that's 100% commission, that's zero salary, only commissions on sales, that was my first experience in entrepreneurship. And I started off terrible. Like, what? Yeah, I was terrible. First month, 30 days goes by, I made $0 in commissions. Zero salary, $0 in commissions. The second month, I was like, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to talk to more people. I'm knocking more doors. I'm going to send more emails. I'm going to make more phone calls. I made $7 in commissions. Man, I just came from up here. Now I'm down here. I said, you know what? I'm going to go harder. I know I've got it right here. I don't make excuses. I'm trying to make some money. So I knock on more doors. I send more emails, make more phone calls. I got a couple signatures, got a couple yeses. And when I looked at my check, my commission check at the end of that 30 days, it was $300. Let's do some math. 0 plus 7 plus 300 is how much? Don't hurt yourselves, right? Use your phones. Use your fingers and toes if you need to. How much is that? In 90 days, how much did I make? $307. I don't know what your bills look like, but that wasn't going to cut it. That's not even gas for 3 months. So you have a question to ask, right? Better questions. Do I pivot or do I persevere? And sometimes pivot is just a fancy word for quit. But who would have really been mad if I said, man, you think I should quit? Hell yeah, you should quit. This is not working. Here's a different question for you, especially on that entrepreneurship journey. I know right now people are sending 100, 200, 300 applications just to get 2 interviews. Okay. You have to ask yourself, is this not working or is it not working yet? That's a question for you. Write that one down. Is it not working or is it not working yet? Okay, it's not working yet. Well, what do we need to do to get it working a little faster, a little smoother? I said, who do I need to talk to? Y'all are smart. If you're smart enough to spend your Saturday here with us, when there's so many things you could be doing, there's some wisdom there. I think that you could figure it out, but I don't want you to figure it out. I went to ask someone who already knows. So I got up and I remember it was 5 a.m. on a Wednesday because the install team meets at 6 a.m. I brought a box of donuts and I went to install team. They take all the things I sell and they go deliver it to the customer. Right? And I walk in, I say, hey guys, my name's Bruce. I bought some donuts. They said, you're Bruce? They grabbed me. They sat me down. They said, Bruce, you got to stop selling that stuff. Except they didn't say stuff. It says sales on my business card. Why wouldn't I sell it? The training was so bad that some of the things they're selling were obsolete. They were discontinued and they were out of stock. So the tech would go to deliver the sale and I was, man, I don't have any of this. And you have to shred it up and you have to start over. That's where my commissions were going. Some of you don't need to work harder. Some of you need to work harder. Most of you, though, just need the right information. So you could take all this hard work you're doing and multiply your success. Some of you just need the right information. I said, well, what do I need to sell that you guys always have? I asked, what do I need to sell that customers like? They don't return, they don't cancel. What do they like to keep? I said, what do I need to write down so I only talk about this? And they gave me a list. The second thing I did, I talked to a gentleman. He'd been there for 16 years. He didn't even go knock on doors anymore. His phone just rang. I hadn't been there 16 years. My phone was not ringing. So I couldn't take his strategy. I asked him a different question. I said, where did you do when you got started? That's why this is so valuable. I want you to listen to people who have already made progress. I want you to ask them questions about the beginning. Don't ask them about chapter 10. Ask them about chapter 1. So you can get started on the right foot. I don't want you to take 90 days. I don't want you to take 9 days of figuring it out to make $307. I want you to get it right the first time. Give yourself a success shortcut by learning from successful people. So I asked him, I said, what did you do when you started? He said, I talked to these people. He taught me about collaboration partners. I went to these zip codes and he told me the hot spots. Next month, I went crazy. Same doors, same emails, same phone calls, but the difference was I had the right information. I didn't have to work harder. I made $1,000 the next month. Yes, that's not a lot of money. That's not retirement money. But if you just spent 90 days to make $300, you think I was happy or was really happy? We got to look a word up in the dictionary. I was ecstatic. The next month, I doubled. Somebody type double in the chat for me. The next month, I doubled again. The next month, I doubled again. It got to the point I was working 2 days a week and I didn't go backwards until I left that role to lead my own team at another company. I leveraged my success and I moved on. That's what happens when you ask better questions. You can't outwork the wrong questions. You can just do it wrong over and over and over again. You're just going to be tired. Better questions get you better results. Better questions gets you better results. So my call to action for you is so simple. Who do I need to talk to multiply my success? That's why we're here today. That's why the Boring Business Summit is so important. If you missed this live, I need you to tap in when we do it again, because I want you to be able to ask questions. Better questions get better answers. I want you to be able to feel the energy of it live. I want you to commit to yourself to taking action. Ask yourself, what's holding me back from the next level of success? It's usually better questions. Listen, my name is Bruce Hill. I make sales simple by teaching you to ask better questions. I'm here to multiply your success by teaching you to ask better questions. And I'll tell you what, Brandy, I'm going to have you come back so we can curate some questions. And I have a gift for you all as well. I want to make sure that I leave you with some action steps.
I heard gift. I'm here. I'm back. Bruce, this was good. Okay, I'm going to repeat back a couple of things that you said that I actually wrote down. Yes, y'all, I am taking notes as the host. You said, is it not working or is it not working yet? I love that. I think too often we quit way too soon. We don't have enough data yet to prove that we're right or wrong. We start something, we don't get the response that we want, and now we're on to the next thing. I love that question. Another question was, who do I need to talk to in order to multiply my success? Everybody should be writing down names. If you don't have any names to write down, why not the people that you're watching right now? You should be in the chat telling people what it is that you do so you can leave this summit having connected with somebody else. You never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. So, as you're thinking about how you can multiply your success, start with just talking to people, letting people know what you do, because when people know what you do, they know to come to you for that thing that it is that you do.
It's that simple.
I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Hopefully, these are good questions.
I got answers.
All right. You talked about doing sales.
Okay.
I started my career in sales. What is a question you think every salesperson should be asking on a sales call or when they're trying to sell something?
It's one of my favorite questions and so simple. How can we make the most of this conversation today? It's so simple. But the challenge that most salespeople run into, and listen, you're like, well, I'm not a sales, this doesn't apply to me. Tap in, lock in, right? Come here, right here. Anytime there's a transaction that has to happen, it's a sale. So whether you go to the movie theaters, you go to dinner, you're in a job interview, or you're trying to sell paternity tests, there's going to be a sale. The hesitation of people, that negative energy people have, is trying to force, convince, or push people to make a transaction they don't want. All you have to do to make sales simple is ask people what they want and then give that to them.
That sounds so simple. So simple. Okay. What's a question that people often ask that should probably be avoided?
I'll give you this one. It's the type of questions. And I'm going to actually do this right now. This is perfect. Go to askingbetterquestions.com, askingbetterquestions.plural.com, grab the Better Questions Toolkit. And it's going to break down some of these techniques. You say, okay, Bruce, we understand. We've got to ask better questions. Well, how do we ask better questions? Put a toolkit together to help you ask better questions in your life and business. Now, that's number one. Number two, everyone that grabs this download is also going to get the updated version of the toolkits. I hired an instructional designer to update the toolkit so it's even more effective for you to use, not to read, not to listen to, not to put in your hard drive and let it collect digital dust, but to put in practice. And then three, shout out to school. Y'all need to pay me some more money. I created a school called Revenue Generating Activities. You're going to get an invite there. It's no charge. It's an accountability group. It's the only school that's going to help you make money from day one without spending any money. Don't let people tell you, oh, you got to have money to make money. No, you don't. You need to have clients to make money. You can use money to make money faster. That's another training. AskingBetterQuestions.com. All right. So the question that people ask that they need to stop asking is a question that starts with a verb. I love that question, Born Millionaire. We're going to help you out answer that one in just a minute. People ask a lot of questions that can be answered with yes or no. They start with a verb. Are you hungry? Is it raining? Right? They start with a verb. Yes or no. And they end up talking themselves out of the sale. I'll tell you the question that people don't ask the most often that costs them the most money is, hey, would you like to get started today? All right. Now you're like, Bruce, you just told us not to ask yes or no questions. No, when you close in a deal, the answer I want to hear is yes. The answer I want to hear is yes. That's the one time at the very end. But I talk about that more in the toolkit, right? So grab that, askingbetterquestions.com.
Bruce, that is so true. When I work with people to help brand their business, one of the reasons why people come to me for branding and marketing is because they're not making sales. And oftentimes it's not even their brand or their marketing that's the problem. They're not asking for the sale.
That's the answer.
Just because you post something online and you're sharing your product or you tell people all this information about what you can offer does not mean, right, that you have closed the sale. It's like you're looking at them and they're looking at you. People are waiting for you to ask that question. Would you like to get started today, right? And you never ask. You never ask for the sale, okay? We got a couple questions, but before I get into those questions from the chat, I do have a question for you, Bruce.
Go ahead.
We're talking about asking better questions. How do you get the confidence to be able to actually ask the question? Sometimes people have it in their mind. They're going to go and get your wonderful gift, your free download, and they're going to have everything they need right in front of them. And then they're going to be afraid to actually say these things in front of people. So how do you get them to that point to where they have the confidence to be able to ask the questions?
The answer, man, that's a whole nother masterclass. I wrote a training for Microsoft. I hope to deliver it in second quarter. So we're really excited about that on confidence. You are not born with confidence. I don't believe anyone's born with confidence, and that's good news and that's bad news. The good news is if you're not born with confidence, it comes from somewhere. The bad news is if you're not born with confidence, it's got to come from somewhere. Confidence comes from practice. And it's actually an answer. Put up that question, what stops people from going all in? It's Latoya, you're absolutely right. Always ask for the sale. Ask for it. The answer to your question and this question is the same. It comes from belief. If I believe that working with me makes your life or business better, why wouldn't I give you the chance to tell me yes? If I believe that my product or service is going to positively impact you, why wouldn't I give you the chance to buy it? It doesn't make sense. I'm like, I don't want to give them the antidote. They might think I'm pushy. I need the antidote. If I got poison, give me the antidote. I'll worry about how much it costs later. Listen, if they have a headache, sell them Advil. Right? That's what people miss. If you're not going all in, it's probably you don't believe that you can get the results. So when I was making $0, $7, $300, it would have made a lot of sense to quit. No one would have been mad at me for quitting. They're like, hell, I would have gave up. I would have given up 60 days ago. But I believed that I could succeed. I believed that if I worked hard enough, long enough, that I could get the results I wanted. And so now this question changes from should I quit to how do I win? Right? Better questions. Right.
Love it. Love it. So believe it in yourself, right? Are you selling something that you believe in? Let us know in the chat. What are you selling? What is it that you believe in? So much so that you want to make sure that you give everyone the opportunity to have it. And so you already talked about what stops people from going all in. Let's do this question. I'm going to pop back to a previous question. If you had to make $1,000 in 2 days, what would you do? Break it down for us.
Oh, man, I'm going to give you a masterclass. There's 5 ways to hear yes more often. And this is the same answer to the question. He says, someone has no sales, but a great product. What do they do next? Number one way to hear yes more often is to tell more people. It's to ask more people. So if you ask 10 people, 10 people can give you an answer. It's that simple. It's very difficult. It's not impossible. I'm going to teach you that in a moment. To ask 10 people and get 100 answers, right? So I got to ask more people. That's the number one thing that you can do right now that you can control right now. You need to tell people working with me will help you accomplish this and avoid this. Here's how to contact me. And what happens is people put up a post. That's marketing. That's not sales. Sales happens in a conversation, whether it's one-on-one or one-to-many. Sales is a conversation. That's a DM. That's an email. That's a phone call. So if you haven't told anyone about your business, you're not going to make any money. You're just not. Number 2, we got to ask the right people. Another reason people struggle with sales is they try to sell a solution to someone that doesn't have the problem, or they try to sell a promise to someone that doesn't have the desire. One of my favorite examples, and I get into this, shout out to my best friend. He's been balling since high school. So you got this amazing shampoo that's going to make your hair healthy, longer, and shiny. All right, well, that sounds good. And you go tell to my best friend, say, hey, man, you want this shampoo? It helps your hair to be healthy, longer, and shiny. He doesn't have any hair, respectfully. So that's the wrong person. So more people, the right person. We're going to ask better questions. We're not going to ask people, hey, do you want to buy something from me? No, I don't know you. I don't know. You say, hey, listen, would you like to grow your business faster and easier? You're like, hold on. That sounds kind of good. That's to ask a better question. The 4th thing, I'm going to ask more often. A lot of people ask one time and they never talk to them again. I'm not telling you to bug people 4, 5, 6 times in a day. That's not what I'm saying. Don't go harassing people and then say Bruce told you to do it. I talked to this gentleman in it's October, November. I just closed it last month. I ask more often. Now, the 5th and most important thing everyone can do right now today is ask for a referral. One of my best referral partners has never paid me $1. think he bought me lunch once. How can he be such a great referral partner? Because he knows what I do, he knows who I do it for, and he knows how to get in touch with me. So now every single person I talk to, hey, would you like to grow your business faster and easier? They say, oh, I don't have a business. My referral question is, who are 2 people you know that do have businesses? Now, one person can help me hear yes 2 times. So if you needed to make 1K in the next 2 days, the only thing you should be doing is telling people you have a $1,000 solution. And you should tell it to people who have $10,000 problems. Now, all of a sudden, it's a good deal. We're not even selling anymore. You just say, hey, you take Visa, MasterCard. Most of you spend time designing a website. Most of the time, y'all spend time putting captions on posts. You start working on your logo. Go tell people what you do and ask them for the business. You make $1,000 every day if you want.
Bruce, when you said masterclass, you were not lying. You said a lot of things really quickly. I'm going to try to come back and recap. Okay, gave you 5 things. If you wrote down the 5 things, go ahead and put them in the chat. Help somebody else out who may have missed it. I'm going to go over a few. One of the things that you mentioned, you said you have to make sales 1-to-1, right? So getting in front of people, right? In my line of work, we call that positioning. So you don't go and talk to everyone. You get in front of the right people, one who can make a decision, right? Can make a sales decision. So if you're selling a house, you're not going to go talk to a 4-year-old, right? You're not doing presentations at the preschool. You need to talk to the parents who have the money to buy the house. So make sure you're positioning yourself in front of the right people, in front of the decision makers, because you can go into sales and absolutely kill your presentation. And that person saying, this was so great, this is so wonderful, I'm going to need to run it by my boss or by so-and-so, and you just wasted your time, right? You need to get in front of the people who are making the decisions, who can make a buying decision based on your sales, okay? Position yourself correctly. The other thing is the follow-up. Oh my gosh, somebody put in the chat, follow up. You guys will send one DM, make one call, don't even leave a message, and then you move on. I posted on Threads a couple of weeks ago how I followed up with this person for almost a year before closing a contract, right? And it was so crazy because a lot of the communication was one-sided, right? I was sending emails. I put them on my list. They were getting the nurturing emails. Every now and then I would follow up, happy birthday on LinkedIn. Hey, I seen this and I thought about you. Want to let you know I got this new product. Let me know what's challenging for you and your business now. And then boom, close the 5-figure contract more than a year later. So follow up. It takes people multiple times to see you and what you do in your business before a lot of people are ready to make a decision, right? This is why on social media, people are posting so frequently and often so that they can keep coming up, right? So that when you think of toilet paper, you think of Charmin. So that when you think of, a smoothie, you're thinking Smoothie King, because it's top of mind because they're constantly seeing it. So take note from some of the giants. Be like Fashion Nova. I get at least 5 emails a day from Fashion Nova. And they text me as well. I never unsubscribe because even though I'm not ready to buy something right now, when I am, I'm going to go searching for that coupon code, right? You are making deposits into this future sale. So please follow up. The third thing is referrals. When someone tells you, no, this is not a fit for me, not right now, how many of us, and let me know in the chat, where you're like, okay, thanks so much, and you walk away from that conversation defeated? How many people do that? I know I used to do this, right? I got a job when I was a teenager, and you might know this company, Vector Marketing, and I was selling Cutco knives, right? I did so well. I made maybe close to $20,000 in the summer before going to college because I followed everything that they told me to a T. I was like, I have no idea how to do sales. I'm just going to do it.
I'm going to interrupt you on purpose, but this is important. You said you figured it out on your own?
I did not.
You said you were a natural born salesperson?
Not at all.
How did you make 20,000? So
I did everything they told me to do. Right. So following directions. I know there's an appeal to be an entrepreneur because you want to do things your way. Stick to the plan. Everything they told me to do. My sales director said, after every appointment, call me. Tell me what you did. Tell me what happened. And I did that, right? And so I was sitting at a table with someone. I went through my whole presentation. They were like, "That is so great. Love the knives, but I don't cook." I called my sales director. I said, "Hey, they loved it. They said that they don't cook." He said, "Go back in. Ask them to give you the names of 10 people who they know that cook." And he was like, "And don't leave, right? Don't just have them give you names and numbers and go out and call these people. You sit right there with them and you have them call and let them know that that you will be calling them later, right?" Sales skyrocketed, right? Because people know people. People will say, "This is not for me." But if you do a good job of branding yourself, where people are like, I now know this person, I like this person, I trust that what they're saying is true, I believe that this product actually works, but I don't have a need for it. Let me call my sister-in-law. Let me call my coworker. You know what? Can you come by my book club and tell them about this thing? Referrals are golden. There are people who have never spent money with me who have brought me so much business. And they don't really want anything in return because they just like you and they trust you. They want to help you.
That's the other part of the story. So, Carla, I love that question. And Toya, we're going to answer your question as well. If you had tried to sell my buddy this magical shampoo, right? Longer, healthy, shinier hair, he's going to tell you to take a hike. But if you said, well, who do you know that wants longer, healthier, shinier hair? Then you would figure out that I haven't cut my hair in 10 years. He'd be like, "Oh, go talk to my buddy Bruce." Yeah. That's it. I want to answer this question.
Yeah.
Thank you for those insights. Thank you for the recap. I hope you are thinking about, how do I apply this today? And Andres challenged you. How do I make 1,000 in the next 2 days? I'll tell you what, it's easier to sell $1,000 product one time than a $10 product 100 times. Okay. All right. So Carla says, how do I use these techniques when talking to distressed homeowners? What questions do I ask about being confrontational or pushing and what to serve them? First of all, you're only confrontational if your goal is different from their goal. That breathe. That's the only I don't want to sell my house. Sell my house, sell my house, sell my house. Now you're being an asshole. We allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, we are allowed to curse, but hold the fuck on right there.
Look, let him cook. You don't have to send you an invoice.
Say that again.
You're only confrontational. You're only pushy if you have different goals. What's the question I gave you earlier, Carla? Well, how can we make the most of this conversation today? I want to know what your goal is.
Right. What do you want?
So, Carla, I'll ask him, hey, you don't know me, but I help homeowners just like you get rid of problem properties. So they have one less thing to worry about. Can we talk? Money. Go get rich.
I'm going to hop in for 20 seconds, Bruce.
Talk to him.
Hey, Carla, good seeing you again. Carla's a long-time student of mine. People fear rejection over fearing being pushy. The fear in the hierarchy of bad feelings, the fear of rejection is higher than the fear of being pushy. And we pretty it up with the fear of being pushy when it's really the fear of rejection. Once we, and I have to say this, hope people don't get mad at me, women more often than men have a higher fear of rejection. I think it's because men in the wild, we have to usually approach women to get a date. Most women aren't approaching men, right? Some are, but most aren't.
Most. Yeah.
So we're used to hearing no. Even fly guys like Bruce, when single, hear no, right? It happens. So once we embrace that we will hear no a significant amount of times. We had a lady on yesterday in Philadelphia who gets $50,000 wholesale checks. When that check is implemented in your brain, Carla and anybody else in wholesale, that actually hurt. Wholesale, you will get over this. Bruce, that one line needs to be the line of your next book.
I'm on it. So
I love it.
There's so much. Listen, y'all, I need you to do this for you. Tap into askingbetterquestions.com. You're going to get my Better Questions toolkit. Okay. I'm going to send you toolkit 2.0. I'm having an instructional designer started from scratch. And I'm going to send you an invite to the school community revenue generating activities. And we can have these conversations on a weekly basis. Conversations that help you generate revenue for your business, help you make money. Okay. askingbetterquestions.com. So here's what I want you to think about, Carla. I need an answer. Yes or no, but I need an answer. Hey, listen, you haven't met me. I work with homeowners just like you to get rid of problem properties so they have one less thing to worry about. Can we talk? Let me see yes or no. That's all you need is a conversation. Okay. You're going to hear no. So I need you to realize that if 100 people answer the phone, how many are going to say yes? 5. That's all you need. That's all you need. It's $250,000 a year.
I love that.
So don't even worry. You need an answer. If they say no, that's good. You need an answer. If they say yes, good. I need some money. If they say maybe, that's not good. If they say call me back, that's not good. Now, Latoya, I need to tap this in. Dre, let me know how we're doing on time because this is what I do.
We're doing pretty good. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, and then I'm going to answer the 1K question myself.
Okay. So what do you personally do practice to build your belief? Okay. It's 3 very simple things. It's clarity, it's consistency, and it's value. All right. So the clarity is what is it I'm doing for who? And I wrote a book, Better Questions, Better Clients. And we talk about my 4P framework and getting that clarity. Consistency. You can beat a lot of people just by showing up, and you beat the rest of them by never giving up. So remember I told you I made $0, but I was working, and I made $7, but I was working, and I made $300, I was working. I couldn't have got to $10,000 if I wasn't working. So even the right information without action is not going to generate revenue. That's where the consistency comes in. You can't get in shape in one day. You can't, you can't go from 0 to $1 million in one day. It's going to take consistency. And then the last part is value. A lot of people try and invent things. Every now and then it works, the pool noodle, the pet rock, but where are those now, right? The more valuable the service, the more confidence you can have when you offer it, the more courage you can have to keep going, and the more money you can make in the process of delivering that value. Clarity, consistency, value. You practice those a little bit every day, 5-10 minutes every day. You're going to build that self-belief. Okay. Tap in with me. We'll help you build that self-belief from the inside out. That's why my business is called New Skills, New You, because I believe one new skill will change your life. Okay. I think I got everybody's questions.
Bruce, you are actually killing it right now. You are packing in a lot of information to a small amount of time. And the responses that you're giving are very clear. Like, people should listen to you and they should be able to leave this call and go ahead and implement immediately. I love when that happens.
That's the only reason it's not going to work is if you don't do the work. That's the only reason.
That's the only way. So let me
we don't set them off. Talk to him.
I want to challenge the chat because nobody in the chat answered my question.
Brandy's about to answer.
That's because they didn't hear my answer first.
Go ahead.
Then to hear your answer, and then they need to give an actual answer. If the answer is I don't know, I'll take I don't know. But everyone in the chat needs an answer.
I got an answer too. You go first, Brandy.
Okay, so if I needed to make 1K in 2 days. Now, for some of you, depending on if you're currently selling something, you might be selling like a $20 product or a $50 product, and that $1,000 seems very far away.
Mm-hmm.
Create a $1,000 product. I have one. It is my brand audit.
Pause. That's a bar. The easiest way to make 1K is to create a 1K product.
Create a 1K product, right?
Why did I think of that?
The lower your offer, the more you're going to have to sell, right? Simple math. You have to have a lot of volume. The other thing I would say is really know and understand your numbers. Now, back in the day, I used to sell Mary Kay. And it was very important in Mary Kay that you continue to talk to people and that you build your client list, right? This is where I first learned about having a CRM, right? Having people on the list. Because I know my numbers, I know that out of every 10 conversations I have, I get 3 sales, right? So the very simple thing for me to do would be schedule 10 conversations.
Tell more people. What did I say to y'all earlier?
Talk to people. Now, I would not necessarily start from scratch. I would just not go out into the world and start knocking on doors. What I would do is I would look at my list. Who are people that I have already talked to that have not purchased, right? And because I'm very detailed in my CRM, I know why they didn't purchase. They probably said it wasn't the right time. They didn't have the money. They started some other program and they wanted to finish that first. It didn't really relate to what they were doing right now, et cetera. And I'm going to start with people who said now is not the right time. because now some time has passed. Something in their life has changed. Let's start with you and let's get you scheduled for a call. Then I would go to I didn't have enough money or too expensive, blah, blah, blah. I would go to those people because now in my business, I offer some payment solutions. So maybe, $1,000 was too much, but they can get on some kind of payment plan that I would consider offering if I didn't close with some other people first. The third thing that really works for me, because I have kind of built in public and built my personal brand in public, people love supporting me. So I would let people know, hey, I have this goal, right? In fact, I did this in January. I said, look, I want to work with more creatives, content creators. I've been working with a lot of small business and nonprofits. I want to work with more content creators. I want to post 10 brand audits for content creators because it's going to help me better understand that market and what people do, right? People started tagging a bunch of people. I started reaching out to those people. I got on calls with those people. And instead of closing 10, I closed 13, right? So start telling people what your goals are. Some of you are like, I don't know how to make sales. I don't know what to do. Tell people want to help you. So tell people what it is that you're doing. And so I would go through those processes. I would schedule my calls. I would make it urgent. You can't schedule 2 weeks from now. I'm available today at these times or tomorrow at this time. I want to get you a call within 24 hours. If not right now, we're on the phone right now texting. Can I call you right now? Right? Let's get on the phone because you don't want too much time to pass for them to start talking themselves out of moving forward with you. Right? Because a lot of you are on here right now and we just got off talking with Royal and you were like, I'm gonna sign up for that course and you already forgot about it. You wanted something else. You're like, well, maybe no, it's not the right time. I'm not gonna do it. I don't know. Right? Bruce is just giving you the game about how to ask better questions. He's dropped the website. He's telling you it's free. And some of you are going to sign up and say, well, I'm not ready. I don't have the confidence. It's too hard. I don't believe in myself. This is such a challenge and you're not going to do it. So you want to be able to close quickly. That's how I would do it. Let me know in the chat what you're doing. Right? Okay.
Randy,
referrals.
You could, and it's something I want to say that seems simple that a lot of people do. You followed up with the people. You asked them to get on the phone. No fear. Brandologist, aka Brandy, no fear. No fear. You can't have any less money than you already have. Let me just put it real plain. If you have $5 or $500 or $500,000, you calling and texting them won't decrease the money. You only have the chance to increase the money. There is literally no way to lose money. You're already paying the phone bill.
True.
Whew, you cooked.
But listen, so I'm gonna tell you what I did because this is something I practice. I do work a 9 to 5. Long story, I need health insurance for people I care about.
Right. Let's talk about that. Are we talking health insurance today?
Not today. But I just want to say out loud, I'm not anti-job. This job, I follow my responsibilities, but it gives me a lot of time freedom. So I was looking at another job. It was giving me more money, but it was taking my time freedom. And I didn't realize this, but I was moving away from the goal. The goal is financial freedom, right? And that job actually rejected me. And I was like, man, I felt kind of bad. Right? I don't hear yes every time. I want to make that clear. I hear no. And I said, well, the difference was about $25,000 annually. And I asked myself, the goal is just 1,000 in 2 days. I said, how can I make 25,000? So I don't need to call them back. I don't need to go look for another job. So I went to a client and they wanted some training. And I said, I'll tell you what, instead of just doing one training, let's do monthly training. And you know what? It's $1,000 a month, or it could just be 10,000. The deposit's $1,000. That's one. Another gentleman, he said, man, Bruce, I really think I can do $1 million this year. And I said, well, what do you think is going to get in the way? He said, well, we got to talk to more people. So, well, if I can help you talk to more people without you having to talk to them, but the conversations are happening, would that be worth a conversation? He said, yeah, what would that look like? We're talking next week. That's 5,000, right? People want to pay you. You just got to give them the chance to pay you. And then there's one more. So listen, I give my three opportunities. All of them hit. I'll be very happy. One of them hit. That's good too. There's one more. She's a speaker and she wants to expand to universities. So what I've done is I put together a prospecting plan for her, and I'm going to call her. You know what? I was going to call her Monday. I'm going to call her today because success loves speed. And I'm going to say, hey, listen, I just need $1,000 to get started so I can buy some sales tools. So I've got 10,000, I've got 5,000, and then the other one I've got a price out. I'm just going to say a deposit 1,000 to get started. I'm going to make that money by Monday. It has to work or it has to work. I want y'all to think creative. Start asking yourself this question: how do I make this happen? And Toya says, I don't have a business, but I could sell some unused valuable furniture in my storage unit. That is a business. So I don't know what you mean you don't have a business. Get on Facebook Marketplace today.
No, slow the fuck down.
Oh.
Say that again, Bruce.
If you have something of value and you have people to sell it to, you have a business.
Why do we sleep on our skill sets?
You don't need an LLC. You don't need you'll need one eventually. You don't need one today.
I would go a step further to say the skill that you have in being able to sell that you can monetize, because other people have stuff in their house.
But let's give her action item today.
Right?
Let's give her action item today. Latoya, go into Facebook Marketplace. Take 2 pictures, the front and the back of that. Put them on Facebook Marketplace today with a price. Put a crazy price up there, and then put OBO or best offer. Watch your phone ring.
This is why Bruce is so cold. He pointed out, Latoya, you have what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. You're looking past what you have.
No.
The most frustrating thing is to talk to people who are cold as heck at what they do, and they don't acknowledge how cold they are. Damn, that's good. We got about 2 more minutes, Bruce.
2 more copies. So Brandy, I love where your mind's going, but that's tomorrow. I need her to take action today. If you do this today, you're going to be closer to that 1K. Mm-hmm. You're going to close it at 1K. All right. So listen, one more time, y'all. My name is Bruce Hill. I make sales simple by teaching you to ask better questions. I help you have better conversations by teaching you to ask better questions. I help you to improve the relationships in your life by teaching you to ask better questions. Are you seeing the pattern? All you have to do is get in the habit of asking better questions, and your life and business will transform. Tap in askingbetterquestions.com so you can learn how to ask better questions and apply it to your life. My only request from you, I haven't even asked y'all for money yet. Everything I offer y'all is no charge. All I ask is you take action. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to make a little money. And you're like, man, I want to make a little bit more. And then we can talk about working together. All right. My name is Bruce Hill. Thank you for your presence and participation. It's been a pleasure to present to you. Cheers to your success.
Y'all give some fire emojis in the chat. That was absolute fire. I hope that you learned something that you are taking with you into whatever business you currently have or are starting. Bruce, if you're still around, there's a question in the chat about being a jack of all trades and how do you focus? Can you answer that in the chat for me? For folks who are here, you do have a business. Also in the chat, let me know what business you have. I know we have mobile notaries in here, of course. What other businesses do you have or that you're thinking about starting? Start to network in the chat with the people who are here. You might find somebody that you want to connect with, that you want to make some money with. Go ahead and put that in the chat. Y'all, if you are getting value from this, please let us know. We are up here just talking away, and you all are hopefully taking notes, but let us know, what you're feeling, what you're learning, what you're taking away. Also, let us know. Okay, notary and HR consultant, shout out to you. What other businesses do we have in here?
I'm going to say this. If you guys don't know a business to start, I know you guys to rock with me with the notary business, because notary or what our next guest is doing. But this is actually one of the times you could do both and not be overwhelmed. I think being a home inspector is top 5 businesses in America. I'll repeat. I think being a home inspector is top 5 businesses in America. Not dumping on my realtor friends, but as a former realtor, I would absolutely much rather be a home inspector than a realtor. This is why we're at the Boring Business Summit. Home inspector seems less boring. home inspectors also always pay. All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to decline on the home inspection. There's mold, there's bugs. It's a journey.